when you look back at yesterday's games, what did you feel were the primary issues with the run defense?
I would say simply our gap integrity, playing as a unit. I would say that. I mean, we got knocked off the ball a few times, but more importantly, I think our gap integrity is what was the fault more than anything else.
And how is Don Terry Pose, one of your more veteran guys in there? How did he perform yesterday?
He played solid. He played on the guard more than he played on the nose, but that was part of the plan for him. But he played. He did his job in there. I don't recall how many snaps he got, but that's what he did most of the time.
What about the gap integrity? You're talking about the defensive lineman up front, and I guess people are asking about Don Terry Pub because he's so stout, and usually you have a stout nose guard or that type of guy that helps plug the run. And what's the disconnect with those gaps and him or defense tackle not able to plug the holes up inside?
Mm-hmm. Well, the gap integrity really entails all 11 players. Primarily, it starts with the front, as always the case. You got your A, B, C, D gap going out each side, but everything from setting the edge with a defensive back, maybe it's a safety, maybe it's a nickel. In some cases, not many, but sometimes it's a corner. But most often it's, like I said, a safety or a nickel player that sets the edge outside of the defensive end. So gap integrity really involves, like I said, all 11 players at different times. Primarily the interior people, though. Obviously, all the runs start at the center. So from there out, you'd like to be good. Nothing different than a baseball team. You don't want to be good for the inside out. But that's so. Like I said, when I talk about gap integrity, I'm more talking about all 11 players fitting and playing as one.
Mike, DeMarcus Lawrence seemed to get to the quarterback multiple times yesterday, but often not complete the play. What did you see in his game yesterday, and where do you want improvement from him?
He's been active every week. As far as I think disrupting the quarterback, he's escaped several times to do that.
Yeah, Mike. It seems that's the easy NFL saying of "do your job," right?
Yeah.
And why does that seem like so hard for guys to just do their job? Do you think you have a problem with guys worrying about everybody else's job?
That's a great question because it is a theme of the NFL at different times. Look, it's the ultimate team sport, and it takes discipline to do your job and win your battle. Sometimes it's easy to go outside of your area of responsibility because there's less strain to go there. I think that sometimes influences players to go there where, if their job takes a little more strain to do, very simply, if you're a 3 technique and you're getting reached, as an example, and you are reached, it's a lot easier just to run behind the block rather than continue to fight forward and try to regain the control you've lost. It's a lot easier just to backdoor and run around the block. Well, that exposes the players around you. So if you have multiple guys kind of doing it at times, I'm not saying we are, but I'm just saying that's what kind of exaggerates the problem sometimes. So when they say do your job, basically that's what it is. Whether it's a gap integrity or whether it's covering someone, it's a number of things. Containing the quarterback, somebody's always responsible for all those duties. There's nothing really designed to let the quarterback run free or let a running back run through your defense. And so it's most often it's because of the integrity of your defense has been broken.
And then with Diggs on the big play to McLaurin, the 52-yarder, maybe similar to Worley the previous week. Are their eyes just in the wrong place, or are they expecting guys to be sitting down at the chains at that point, or how do you explain what's happened with the 2 big plays the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, I think Trayvon's today, or yesterday rather, was strictly his eyes. His eyes got him in trouble. He's looking inside. He stopped his feet, and then the guy went right by him. The guy didn't even stutter. He was just running. He was running vertical. I had thought in the game that he kind of gave him a stutter or something to get him to stop, but he didn't. He just, Trayvon's eyes were just bad on the play. And a week ago, I don't know that it was Darrell's eyes so much as he slowed down. It looked to me like he was looking inside a week ago, but then again, maybe not. Your eyes can if you don't have good eyes, you can get in trouble in this game real quick, no matter what position you play.
Mike, on that touchdown, so can you take us there, since we've just seen the broadcast, where the other defensive backs were on the play, and who would you have liked to come to help, or what are some of the options once he misses that?
You're talking about the touchdown on Trayvon?
Yes.
On the touchdown on Trayvon, he had a safety on his inside, but he had that player vertically by himself. So really there was no one to really assist him after it went vertical. Once it went deep, he was responsible to be over top, much like Darrell's a week ago, although a different coverage a week ago. Darrell's responsibility was to stay on top of that receiver, and he lost that leverage naturally, and the guy had the long touchdown pass. And that's pretty much the same thing, although, like I said, a different coverage, but both of them require the corner to stay on top of the receiver. So no one was he really didn't have assistance on that play. Deep, anyhow.
The guy came back fresh legs and everything, only had 6 snaps in that game. What was the thought process on his playing time on Sunday?
Did you say Randy?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Yes. I thought his play was good. As a matter of fact, on that long touchdown pass we're talking about right now, he's just a split second away from really disrupting that play to never even happen. He was right in the quarter. He had knocked his tackle that was blocking him right into the quarterback, and the quarterback kind of, got it off, but he was being hit at the same time. And so that was one of the plays he made. Outside of that, he only played one play as an outside linebacker. The other plays he played as a defensive end, and we'll slowly work him in more as we go.
How are you going to manage that? You got Everson, you got Lawrence, now you have Gregory. How are you managing just your rush end right now?
Well, we're trying to get them all at different work, but like I said, as far as Randy goes, he's just now kind of getting into the swing of things. So how many reps he'll take from the others is a little bit unknown today. But as we go forward, if we can take those 6 to 9 reps or what it was he got and double them in a week and work forward, that would be good. Look at some of the other guys need to have some reps taken off their plate too, because freshness is a big key. Especially when we get this thing back on track and we get late in games. Obviously, you want fresh bodies rushing the passer late in the game.
We have the trade deadline approaching, and so we'll see how the roster shakes out after that. But Everson Griffin, what have you made of? We had the sack yesterday. What have you made of his production performance this season, and also not only on the field but just around the building, how he's been?
He's been great around the building, around the guys. I don't think there's been anything there. He's been very good on the field. Yesterday, he played a good game. He was productive in the game. It's hard to say, with the way we've played as a unit throughout, these first 7 weeks, it's hard to really say too many good things about, just to be fair to the whole thing. There's, all of us have to share in the responsibility of what's gone down, but on individual basis, Griff has he's done some good things. He's missed a few plays I'm sure he'd like to have back, but he's also made some plays. And yesterday was a good example. I thought he played a good game yesterday.
Justin Hamilton saw a season-high workload. And I guess it was only his second game, but what did you think of how he did on the subject of gap integrity and all that? How do you feel he performed?
I thought he had a better week last week, better than yesterday's game. He did have more reps, and that was our plan to try and work him in some more. But I thought he performed better the week before than he did yesterday.
Defense after week 2, was that out of necessity because of the personnel and injuries, or did you have guys come to you and say that there were perhaps things happening to you guys making some changes that early?
I'm sorry. Guess that question again, please. It was kind of breaking up a little bit on me. After the second week, you said?
After the second week, it was Mike McCarthy who said that you guys simplified the defense, and even you have said that you guys have really taken a lot of this playbook. Why was that? Is that because of injuries? Is that because the personnel perhaps hasn't been able to grasp the scheme, or did you guys have players come to you and intimate all of those things? Why the need to be reactive after week 2?
I'll use an example. Early on, we were still trying to find out, as an example, Alden Smith, trying to find out what were the things that he could do well from the standpoint of playing outside linebacker like he did prior to leaving the NFL, or if he was more of a defensive end now. I would say Alden's an example of one of the guys where we kind of adjusted some things, not only on an individual basis, but as far as playing some base versus playing nickel versus different personnel groupings and leaving him at the defensive end position. So some of the adjustments we made were with the intent for the player's sake, and that was one respect. Outside of that, when you put things in training camp, you put in a lot of things in camp because you're building up for the season. So when the season begins, you kind of decide on what it is you're going to play and what you're not. And so I think in reference to what Mike had said and us putting things together, I think we were still just evolving into what we felt our players could do, how much stuff they could handle and how much they could do. I don't think that our poor performance, I guess is the best way to say it, thus far is attributed to volume of defense. That I don't think anyone who's played us would probably be a good one to ask. I don't think any of them would say that they're getting ready for volume. I don't know what they would say, but it wouldn't be volume. I think we've kept things pretty tight throughout the season as far as what we're playing against our opponents. We just haven't executed those things very well.
What have your conversations looked like with this team as a result of feeling disappointed that they're not playing up to the expectations you guys have had for them?
What's my what?
What has been your message specifically?
My message?
Defensive side of the ball.
My message has pretty much been has been playing as a unit, trusting one another, and being accountable. Because any defense, every offense for that matter, I mean, everything's designed to play as one. There's an objective in mind, and everybody has a piece to play in making that objective work, whether it's on offense or defense. And the better defenses obviously play more as one than the ones that aren't very good. And so our message has been really trying to obtain consistency in playing that. We've had spurts where we've played good, whether it was a 3 and outs or the start of there's about 28, 29 plays into the Arizona game. I thought we were playing a pretty good ball game, and then we, did not play very good for a stretch there. And so to me, it's the consistency. So my message has been really more of that. It's just been, let's continue to grow as a unit. Let's continue to rely on each other, and let's continue to be accountable to the jobs we have to do so that we can, continue to grow and be a good defense.
Leighton Vander Esch has been back for 2 games now. Did you see him progress from the first game back to yesterday? And do you feel going forward he's pretty close to a full go from where he was before the injury?
I think health-wise, and he'd be a better one to ask because I don't know what it feels like when he makes contact, but I think that it looked to me like there was no signs of him favoring anything from an injury standpoint. He did play 30 plays last week. Yesterday, I think he probably played the full 67 or 70, whatever it was we had. I think he only played, I don't think it was maybe a quarter in the first game. So he's played, what is that? He's played basically, 5.5, almost 6 games thus far. So he really hadn't played that many. And I wasn't, obviously I'm not familiar with Leighton before this, but he seems to be doing fine and getting better. And the more and more we play, I think it'll, he's just going to get better because he's a good player, as we all well know.
We'll finish up with Todd.
Todd.
I'm like, how does Cheeto's return impact the cornerback situation and how you might use the guys? And how's your eye after getting the Tabasco in there?
Well, I'll answer about my eye first. My eye feels a lot better. Matter of fact, right now, but it was burning. Anyhow, look, we're excited to get Cheeto back, and we'll see how much he plays in the game based on his practice and things like that. But very excited to get him back. We've been down at the corner position And so this will give us a little more depth there. I mean, like I said, I don't know exactly how much he'll play in the game. I'd love it for him to play the whole game, but I don't know that that'll occur. We'll see. Again, it'll be based on the week. So I think early in the week he'll be listed as questionable, whatever it might be, and until we really see where he's at as a coaching staff.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you all.